You want to get hardcore?
Greetings and salutations. It's your man CD, the fallen angel Christopher Daniels.
Yo, what's up? This is the Phil and Flash TJP.
Hello, this is former 5-time WWE Women's Champion Melina.
Hello, it's the Killer Bay. The base there is, the base there was, the base there ever will be, the goddess of girl power, yours truly, Heather Monroe.
You want to get extreme?
Currently at home in Southern California, enjoying Southern California things. And one of the things out in Southern California that you can enjoy.
And from one homegrown LA person to another.
That's right. Your eyes are not deceiving you. I am talking directly to you. You are so welcome.
One of the things out in Southern California that you can enjoy is the Circle of Debate podcast.
This shout out is for the Circle of Debate podcast.
I wanted to let you guys know to watch the Circle of Debate podcast. I mean, they are based out of Los Angeles. These are my people.
I want to take a second to give a shout out to the Circle of Debate podcast because obviously one of the best podcasts around. And you know why? Because they have an eye for talent. They are a fan of moi.
Do both with this podcast. Circle of Debate, baby.
They're out here in Southern California giving you guys quality entertainment to listen to. So give them a listen. Tell them Christopher Daniels sent you. Enjoy the show.
Thank you so much for being a fan. Thank you for watching, and God bless.
Heather Monroe. So what other credentials do you need for that? Anyways, just wanted to say thank you so much for your support. Love you.
And I want to wish you guys the best. And I know you're going to do great, and I'm proud of you. Mwah! Sending you guys all the love in the world. And watch Circle of Debate podcast.
You want to be hardcore, you want to be extreme, tune the fuck in.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Circle of Debate podcast. Kicking off 2021 with a bodega style. This is the host, the devious one, Ivan C, here alongside with my brother, that's my other mother, and that is Mr. MGC Matt Steamboat. So we do not have Chris Kennedy or Mr. Burke here with Mike is joining us today. But today we have an honorary guest that I've been dying to get on the show for a very long time since we had Limelight. Now, we have a former All-Pro Wrestling World Tag Team Champion. We have a former Pro Wrestling Revolution All-World Tag Team Champion. He's one of the co-founders of the La Bodega. He's also the current one half of the United Wrestling Network World Tag Team Champions. So you better watch out, better watch your mouth, because he's a one-man lucha gang, the bully bastard, the Boricua bastard will knock your ass out bodega style, and that is El Rey Gordo, the King Fatboy himself, Mr. Papo Esco. How are you?
What's going on, man? Hey, thank y'all for having me on. It's gonna be a good one. How y'all doing? You good?
We're good, brother. We're good. I'm glad to get you on the show. I'm honored that you're here finally, man. I know you're a busy man.
Thank you.
You're a busy man.
Yeah.
Winning that belt, I was happy when you guys actually won the, UWN Tag Team Championships. You and that in line. I love it. So I want to go ahead and get to start off the first question. I wanted to go ahead and
hell yeah.
How the journey began for Papo Esco? How did it all start?
Man, it's a good question. My story is a little bit different than everybody else. Well, it's a lot different than everybody else's in a lot of ways. So just a real quick, I'll try to go through this as fast as possible. Like everybody else, ever since I was a kid, I watched wrestling. I was a huge wrestling fan, still am a huge wrestling fan. I watch all kinds of wrestling, every single thing I can get my hands on, from the independent level all the way to the global level. I'm trying to watch it. Just like everybody else will tell you, as soon as I get out of high school, I found a school and I tried to, do this and that and the other. My plan was no different. I wanted to be a professional wrestler. So as soon as I got out of high school, I was going to try and, find something. But, it didn't happen, man. I got into a lot of trouble when I was a kid. So, that kind of put that on pause and kind of made me forget about that dream. I met my wife young, and, I was still getting into trouble, but I credit the way I function now to my wife because she kind of put me on a straight and narrow. You know, there's this little saying that's out there. I'm sure people would tell you, you know, it takes a woman to raise a man. Well, you know, hey, she kind of put me on track, you know. So she gave me two beautiful kids. We had those kids young. So I got a 19-year-old daughter and a 17-year-old son. I say that because fast forward to maybe, I don't know how many years ago it was. Sitting there, my kids are, you know, teenagers, and well, they're very young, you know, just getting ready to be teenagers. And I'm talking to them about drive and what it takes to get what you want. And I'm telling them, yo, you can do anything you want in this world if you put your mind to it. You know, as long as you write it down, figure out how to get there, you can do it. You can achieve anything if you work for it, you know. And that must have been the day where they were like, you know, let's cap on dad, because they started making fun of me, telling me, you know, whatever, dad, we don't believe you. So just out of sheer like competition, you know, or whatever you want to call it, no matter, I was like, okay, well, I'll make you a deal then. I'll prove to you that if you put your mind to something, you can do anything you want in your life. And they said, yeah, whatever, dad. So I thought, you know, I was like, yo, what can I do that I haven't done already that is so, well, for the sake of the conversation, I'll say that it's so far-fetched that, you know, I could prove to them that if I put my mind to it, I could do it. So that was professional wrestling. I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. So I was like, yo, I'm going to find a school. And I did. I sought out Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy in my area. And I met with the owner, Gabriel Ramirez. And he you know, he told me what it was. I signed up, and, you know, the rest is history, man. I mean, I went from trying to prove to my kids that you could do anything you want in life to making this something that I feel like I could make a go of, you know. So, you know, I mean, just through that conversation with my kids, I was able to, like you said, you know, win the Pro Wrestling Revolution World Tag Team titles with Arkady Fedorov. I was able to win the All Pro Wrestling World Tag Team titles with the Nightmare Sin. Shout out to my brother Sin. And then now I'm able to say that I'm a United Wrestling Network World Tag Team Champion with my boy Danny Limelight, you know, the Bodega. And you know, I feel like I'm just hitting the tip of the iceberg, you know. So I had a conversation with my kids not too long ago when they saw me on television, and they was like, yo, dad, you did it. And I said, okay, I did it. Now what are you gonna do? I proved to you that I can do anything I want in life if I put my mind to it. Now you need to prove to me that you can do anything you want in life if you put your mind to it. So, you know, anybody that's listening right now, anybody that listens to the Circle of Debate podcast, I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter if you're 10 years old or 100 years old. There's never a point in time that you can't do what you want in life. You just got to focus, put the work in, and you can achieve it, man. So, I mean, that's really the story.
I agree 100%, brother. Good preaching right there. Good preaching. Good preaching.
Yeah.
You talk about your kids, and you talked with them. Like, what's it like when they come to your shows or watch your matches, or even your wife? Do they ever feel like kind of scared for you sometimes? Because wrestling, you know, it's not the safest of professions. You know, anybody could agree. But like, if they see you in like a dangerous spot, say, you know, like a power bomb off the top turnbuckle, or maybe, you know, a match where you bleed or you get juice or something like that. Like, how does your family usually react to something like that?
Right. So, yeah, man, my family, they really don't like wrestling. So they really don't like follow professional wrestling, but I mean, they support me 100%. So if it's an area where we can get them to the show, they'll definitely, you know, go to the show and be in the front row. My son, he likes to boo the hell out of me. So, you know, it's funny to see him, you know, just talking shit and just like trying to, you know, it's not dad no more. And this is the only time that he gets to start talking mess to me without me telling him, you know, something about it. But, you know, he has a lot of fun doing it. I'll say that the more and more I do, you know, and with this recent TV spot with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, United Wrestling Network, it's getting to be more of a proud thing, you know. My kids wouldn't really say nothing about what I do, But now, you know, I mean, their friends are telling them, "Dad, I saw your dad on television," and they're like, "Yeah, that's my dad. He's a professional wrestler." And it's just, it's they're excited about it now, you know, and you know, it's cool. I like to see them see me, and I like to see the proud, you know, in their eyes, or the pride in their eyes, or whatever you want to call it. But you know, they still, you know, they support me as best they can. My wife, she does the same, 100%. You know, she's very supportive, and she's proud of what I do. But I think she doesn't like it more than my kids, because there's been a few times where she's had to drive me to the hospital. You know, there's been a couple of times where she's had to kind of take care of me while I was, you know, rehabilitating from an injury or whatever. But overall, you know, I'm blessed in the respect that, you know, my support system is so strong with my wife and my kids. So
I'm still like I just think that's awesome how your son just goes and boos, and you know that's actually
man, he does it all the time.
That's great audio.
He does it all the time.
He's really into the story though. He's really into the whole.
No, he's not into the story. He's into talking cash shit towards his dad because he knows that's the only time that he gets to do it. And I mean, you guys see, I don't know if you guys see like the promos and stuff that I do. I'm pretty choppy with the mouth. I'm pretty choppy with the mouth. This cat, he's even worse. So like he can snap. He's quick-witted. You know, he'll
chip off the whole block.
I'll tell you what. There's been a couple of times where he's been in the front of the row, and I've been able to hear him, and I would like have to turn and look like just to be like, yo, you're walking on thin ice right now. You know, so he's
the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. Yeah.
No.
Definitely. So when you started to begin training, I know you started off with Pro Wrestling Revolution, the training academy in San Jose.
Yeah.
Because that's, you know, you were pretty much raised in San Jose, right? Am I correct? Around that area?
I was, the Bay Area. Yep.
Okay. So at that time, I mean, when you walked into the doors, you tell them, like, look, I need you to train me. I want to be professional wrestling. How was the experience of the training? I know it's more lucha style. And who was the head trainer at the time when you came in? And if you recall, you know, your class when you came in, if they're still currently wrestling or not at the time when you walked into the doors.
Man, so when I first walked into Pro Wrestling Revolution, you know, I didn't know how I was gonna go, you know, but like you said, it is a lucha based promotion, and it's a lucha, you know, training academy, so it's rigorous, man. I've seen like American style training facilities, and you know, I don't think it compares too much to a lucha training facility. I mean, no diss to any of the, you know, training academies that are out there that train, you know, just American style, but you know, lucha's rigorous, man. It's a lot of rolls, it's a lot of cardio, it's a lot of, you know, bumping and just, you know, physicality, and you know, the main thing is just trying to get your wind up, man. So they will take you through the ringer to a point where you feel like you want to throw up, man. You know, it's a lot of coordination, you know, and a lot of, you know, it's just a lot of things and a lot of variables that you have to be prepared. You have to mentally prepare yourself to work through, because for a lot of guys, and this goes to the point that the other part of the question is, there's a lot of guys that come in and they just don't make it, you know? Mm-hmm. So you talk about, you know, the people that I had when I was coming up. I think there might be maybe two guys out of probably, I don't know, 20 or so that are still, you know, that are still there with me training. Whereas, you know, there are a bunch of like new cats, you know, but it's hard, man. You know, you'd be surprised at how many people come in the door and they look like $1 million. You know, they're you know, they have the great looks, they got the great body, and they got the coordination, and you like, yo, this cat's got it. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, nah, this ain't for me, and he quits because he can't deal with what we do, you know. So, I mean, I give all praise to Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy and Gabe Ramirez for taking a chance on me and helping me, you know, be able to ply my trade, man. I mean, they're got a really good training academy. The head trainer there is the Brown Bomber, Robert Thompson. He's a NorCal Hall of Famer. He's all pro wrestling legend. But throughout the course of my training, you know, we had Super Crazy come in and do a full training course. And Lady Apache, she came in and do a full training course. Skyday came in and to do a full training course. We've had old school Oliver John, who's another all pro wrestling alumni and NorCal Hall of Famer. He's come in. Rick Luxury is another, you know, legend in our area that's come in. You know, and then you get the seminars that Gabe will bring in, like Juventud Guerrera, and we've had Ultimo Dragon and you know, Blue Demon. I mean, dude, that is crazy because every time these cats are in town, they'll drop by the academy just because they have so much respect for Gabe Ramirez. You know, like we've had Blue Demon come, we've had Santo come, we've had you know, obviously I said Lady Apache and Skyday. You know, and when I say those two, you know, they live in Mexico, but when they come for like months. They've been there for months. I trained with Skyday for probably a year and a half. You know, I trained with Lady Apache for probably close to a year, you know. And then, we recently had Ricardo Rodriguez, Jesus, you know, shout out to that cat. He came in, he did some training with us. So I'm happy to say that I've had a lot of people, and I've had the opportunity to sit under their learning tree, and you know, it's just been a blessing, man. You know, it's been real good to me.
Oh man, definitely, man. That's a lot of alumni, a lot of legends, a lot of you know, current stars.
Yeah, man.
Man, I'm not gonna, you know. So I know here's one, you know, one question out of nowhere. I know that because my uncle's he's a pro wrestler up in Guadalajara, Mexico. You know, my family's more Mexican heritage. My other side is more Salvadorian, but you know, Mexican side. But my uncle is Fuerza Guerrera, so he's one of my uncles.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know that a lot of them wrestle on the left side. You know, there's always a technique. There's at that time at the Pro Wrestling Revolution, was there more training on the left side, like more lucha libre style, or was it more on the right side? Or how did the, you know, if you get what I'm saying, because I know there was like very different.
Yeah, no, I got you. I got you. Yeah. So Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy, man, they do a good job of incorporating all elements. You know, like the strong style, the American style.
Okay.
But we do the opposite. We do the opposite. We have a knowledge for lucha. You know, when it comes to, I feel like I can go to Mexico, and I can wrestle a traditional lucha match. You know, I feel that confident in the training that I've had. But we also do the American style because, I mean, you know, we're not naive. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're in America. You know, we're in California, and a lot of our guys that come, you know, myself included, they might not go to Mexico. We might have to go to Japan. We might have to go to MLW or Ring of Honor or Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, United Wrestling Network. You know, we might have to go to any of these places, and that's an American company. So you have to know how to wrestle an American style.
Agreed.
So it is well-rounded. You know, it is well-rounded. One of the cool things about the academy, though, is that, you know, it's not just wrestling, man. You know, we have managers, we have ring announcers, we got commentators, we got referees. You know, we do all that training. You know, all that training is done there. You know, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's well-rounded. Yeah,
definitely.
I think my question goes back to the training because you're talking about people who look really good that didn't make it. Have you ever seen it the other way? Have you ever seen it the other way around though, with somebody, you know, they don't really look as good, and you're like, wow, they really made it, you know? So, somebody, you know, maybe they didn't have the coordination, like you didn't have high hopes for them in the beginning, and then they made it through, you know.
I mean, I'm a prime example. You know what I mean? I'm the king. You know, my name is the King Fatboy Papo Esco. You know, I wear. You see my ring gear. I wear King Fatboy on my belly. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, who does that? You know, what I mean, I'm prideful when it comes to that. I'm very comfortable in my skin. I know when people first looked at me back in the day when I first started, nobody thought that I was going to be anything. You know, I don't have all the muscles. You know, I don't have all the high flying ability. You know, I'm not a big technical guy, although I can do that if I wanted to, but it just doesn't fit into my MO. You know, so I had to carve my own lane because I don't look like what you believe a professional wrestler should look like. You know, so I'm a prime example. You know, a lot of other kids. I mean, we got a kid, Chamuco, right? He's a mass wrestler. He's in the training facility right now. He's owning his skills. You know, he's going to be a decent guy, man. I don't know how far he's going to go. He might go really far. He might not. But he's being trained well, and he's a decent guy. And when you look at him, you think, I don't think so. You know, I don't think that I would want to watch him. But
Right.
I mean, there's ways around that. And again, I revert back to me. You know, you know, it doesn't. I feel like in today's professional wrestling, the majority of them want to be the big muscle dudes and they want to be the big high flyers with the good bodies and they want to be the technical wrestlers and whatever. But there is a good avenue for the cats that don't look like they should be there. And, you know, there's a lot of kids at Revolution that have that, that are in that category and that are going to blow some minds when they get a chance to ply their trade. You'll see, man. You know, you'll see.
Definitely. I agree with you 100% because it's really more about what storytelling in the ring and how you tell the story in the ring. It's not about the looks or the size. It doesn't matter to that. It's not about how you're telling a story from the beginning and end. To get, obviously, the crowd to get an understanding and to get them involved in that story. And it doesn't matter. Does it have to be a high flyer or does it have to be none of that shit? It could be just telling a story. It's like you're seeing an opera play, but, you know, you're seeing it, obviously, in a sport, a professional wrestling. So it's very different. But I definitely agree with you 100%. Now, talk about your first match in when you debuted in Pro Wrestling Revolution. So who was the first match you had with? Were you in a singles competition or were you in the tag match? Your first debut in Pro Wrestling Revolution.
So my debut, it was for Pro Wrestling Revolution. It was. See, here's the thing. So, you know, most cats, you know, have stories where, you know, they trained and then they started working and they was working in bingo halls for like 40 or 50 people. You know, I got thrust into the thick of things real quick, man. It was 1,100 people packed into a building for Pro Wrestling Revolution, and they were streaming on I think it was Fight TV at the time. I can't remember. I think it might have been Fight TV at the time. Mm-hmm. So here I am, first match ever. I'm shitting bricks. I can cuss on you, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm shitting bricks, man. You know, I'm nervous as hell. And I'm debuting with another guy that's debuting at the same time. He's another student at Pro Wrestling Revolution Training Academy. His name was Simon Cross, the motocross madman. And he don't wrestle no more. You know, but he's very talented, and it was pretty easy to perform with him, you know. But it was nerve-wracking, dude, because let's go back to what I was talking about me being, you know, not looking like a professional wrestler or what people think a professional wrestler should look like. I didn't know how people were going to perceive me, man. You know, I didn't look like no muscle dude. I didn't have no kind of high flying stuff or whatever. I was just going to go out there, punch somebody in the mouth and just do it over and over again until they stop moving. That's really what the MO was. So I walk out there not knowing exactly how people was going to, you know, react. And that's a nerve wracking situation, you know? So here I go out, and luckily, you know, people reacted to me pretty good, you know, and I was able to get my job done. And luckily me and that guy, Simon Cross, was able to put a good one on. And man, I got to the back, people like shook my hand, said, good job, because they knew, you know, I was nervous and it was my first time, you know, and then after that, we was off to the races, man, you know. I think that I relied a lot on my training, and I relied a lot on, you know, the advice of Gabe Ramirez. and it really helped me through, and it continues to help me through to this day. You know,
That's fucking awesome. That's good to hear.
yeah.
And I mean, during those times too, as well. I mean, you got to wrestle great, great legends. I mean, even current stars like El Tejano, Psycho Clown. You wrestled.
Yeah.
Chavo. You wrestled. I mean, MVP. I think that was when you went up to Pro Wrestling. So how was that experience? Wrestling. These legends and the current stars. Like, how was like, I mean, the first when you first meet them, and then how was it for the first time? Like, were you nervous, or were you like just man, what's going on, man? How are you? Okay, let's do this. Before talking about the match, or how was the whole chemistry? Wrestling all those incredible talents.
So I'll tell you what, man. I was respectful, according to the etiquettes of professional wrestling.
Right.
But I wasn't nervous or scared to meet them. I've always been of the belief that if you eat, sleep, and use the restroom and bleed like I do, there's no reason for me to be fearful of you at all. So I'm not scared in that sense. But there's a respect level. And every time I wrestle, even if I'm wrestling someone that's not experienced as I am, or if I'm wrestling someone that's experienced as I am, or even if I'm wrestling somebody who's on a bigger stage and has more experience than I am, there's always room to learn. So whenever I wrestled MVP or Chavo, Tejano Jr., Psycho Clown, it didn't matter who it was. I learned a lot. I learned a lot. My favorite learning experience would be when I wrestled Chavo. I walked up to him and I said, Chavo, how you doing? My name's Papo. We're gonna wrestle tonight. What do you want to do? And he asked me, how do you usually, sort out your matches? And I explained it to him, and he said, okay, we're not gonna do that. I said, okay. He said, we'll figure it out. Don't worry. I'll come talk to you in a few minutes. And he didn't talk to me again. He didn't. So I tried to catch him before, we were to go out there. And he said, yeah. We'll do this one thing. And he, it was the end of the match, the finish.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about the finish, which is probably the last, I don't know, fucking minute or something like that. And then he goes, okay, cool, I'll be back. I was like, what do you mean you're going to be back? Like, we're getting ready to go out there. And then he said, okay, I'll see you out there. All right. So we go out there and we didn't have nothing. I was looking at him, and I had this mean face and, the whole, like, character and out there just doing me. And inside, the me inside was like, I am fucking shitting bricks. I'm just like scared as hell. But we got through the match, and it ended up being a really good match. And when we got to the back, he comes up to me and he says, now you know how to work. And I was like, okay, I got you. When you're forced into situations, when you're forced into situations that can either go really good or really bad, and you don't know which way it's going to go, you have to be able to improvise, and you have to be able to think on the fly and just stay relaxed and stay calm, and don't let fear or nervousness or anxiety, mess you up. And I learned a pretty good lesson that night, man. So shout out to Chavo. He helped me out a lot, and I have stories for each one of those guys and even more guys, but that one really stands out as a really, really heavy learning lesson for me.
It was basically the whole calling it in the ring, that thing. Let's call it in the ring.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think, and ever since that match, I've been very obsessed with the term and the art of calling it in the ring. Not a lot of guys do that nowadays. No. And you can easily tell in the matches. And no diss to them. Some of these guys do tremendous things, and they're doing like these awe-inspiring, jaw-dropping moves and everything like that. But at the end of the day, my belief is if you can go out there and feed off the reactions of the fans, and feed off the reaction of how you're moving and how your opponent's moving, and you can just like it's like you're thinking you want to do something, and you guys are so gelled and so in sync, even though you haven't talked about anything, that what you do is turning out to be much more than you could have ever imagined, you know. And it's a good feeling. So yeah, that calling in the ring is something I'm obsessed with.
I love it too. I'm with you 100% on that, because it kind of brings back kind of the old days, and it kind of like also like you don't, like how you said it, you don't really see that no more. Because I feel, I mean, even though I'm not a professional wrestler, you know, but
right.
I'm pretty sure that in your mind, and excuse me, you correct me if I'm wrong, just give me my opinion, but it's more of an excitement because you're testing your knowledge of what you know, what you preached, and now you're putting it to another individual that you haven't even been in a ring with at all, and you're putting your knowledge into it and calling it in the ring. I think that's more exciteful as a professional wrestler yourself. And that's for the fans too. And I'm with you 100%. I think that's one of the, one things I do miss of, you know, back old school, you know, professional wrestling, even in Lucha Libre.
And don't get me wrong, man. I mean, there's a huge amount of benefit and a huge amount of upside for, you know, making sure that you have a clear understanding of what you're doing before you go out there. Because, you know, I mean, shit, man, you can't just do this Canadian destroyer, you know, in the ring just on the fly, you know. I mean, somebody's going to get hurt that way. So there's definitely benefits and an upside to making sure you have stuff sorted out before you get out to the ring. Yeah. But, you know, for me, I'd like to think that I'm a throwback to a time where, you know, the dudes like Bam Bam Bigelow and King Kong Bundy and One Man Gang and all them cats were just they were a big part of professional wrestling. And it was during that time that, you know, cats were really calling it in the ring. You know, they were locking up and they were seeing what happens from there. And you know, not a lot of guys can do that. So obviously I can't do that with every single person. But if I can catch somebody who has a big aptitude for professional wrestling in the sense of, you know, an old school approach to it, you know, calling it in the ring and whatnot, I'd love to get, you know, my hands on those guys and see what we can create together. You know, I think it'd be, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's most definitely. I mean, I did some matches with Jared Kratos. That was another one of my favorites because it's a hard hitting but a psychology in there you guys put out there, bro. So I love it. It's incredible to see both of you guys. And yes, I mean, for me personally, yes, it's your style reminds me of Bam Bam, reminds me of One Man Gang, reminds me of even Arn Anderson because of the heavy hitting, you know, and just the spine buster, you know, everything. So, you know, and believe me, I watch.
And I was actually going to ask about the One Man Gang, since your name, you have a moniker very similar to that. It's, you know, one man, you know.
One Man Lucha Gang, yeah.
One Man
Lucha Gang. Love it.
So I love like you mentioned that, so it's like almost like a little bit of a callback to that, but at the same time, it, you know, you've got a little bit of new and old ideas coming together as well.
Yeah, man. Well, I definitely wanted to bring those guys back. You know, I mean, you know, back in those days, like One Man Gang, he was a big burly fat dude. You know, Bam Bam Bigelow, big burly fat dude. You know, and those cats, they were great. Like they were like icons. You know, like larger than life icons. And I feel like sometimes people forget about them. And you know, when I came out and I decided I was going to roll with the King Fatboy Papo Esco, I wanted to make sure that I incorporated certain things that would pay homage to them cats, and the One Man Lucha Gang moniker fit, you know, it fits, you know. So I wear that, you know, on the side of my gear proudly, like I wear the Fatboy on my belly proudly, you know. So I mean, I would definitely pay homage to them dudes every single time I step in the ring. You know, and it's funny you say Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson is my favorite wrestler of all time. Period.
Really? Okay.
My favorite wrestler of all time.
Really?
He's the one. Yeah, I've been a fan of Arn Anderson for a long time. It's funny, man. I was doing some talent work for the WWE a couple years ago, and I got the chance to meet him, and it was real hard because, you know, my trainers, they tell me, look, you know, when you meet guys that are on a level that's higher than you, you still have to act like you belong. You know, you have to make them see that you deserve to be there and you belong. They don't want to see you as no fan. You know, it took everything in me to keep that 10-year-old kid from coming out of my body and just marking the hell out for Arn Anderson. And the next day, because we were in San Jose at the SAP Center on a, I think it was a Friday, and then we drove to Bakersfield for SmackDown on a Saturday. And I saw him in Bakersfield, and he looked at me and goes, "Hey, Papo, right?" And I said, yeah, how you doing, sir? And he's like, "Hey, how you doing? Good to see you again." He walked away. And even that, I was like, you know, I had to turn away. I was like, I wanted to do a flip, man. I swear I did.
I must enforce it.
Oh, man, if I was in your issues, I'll be the same way. I ain't gonna lie. I'll be the same way. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, you gotta, like, you want it. Like, you're really into this business. Definitely, agreed. And yes, why did I say Arn Anderson? Because I've watched your Spine Masters, bro. I see that. I see that shit. I see what you do. I see what you do in the ring.
I stopped doing it because everybody does it now. You know, so
yeah, I know you're trying to be
some
different.
Go away, some come back. You know.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll bring it back.
You gotta bring it back one day, bro. You gotta bring it back one day.
You know what? It's one question I haven't asked any of the wrestlers yet, and I don't think I've asked it directly, but you know, what's your experience with like blading, you know, and stuff like that? Because I've been wanting to ask that for a minute. You know, what's your perspective on it? Have you ever done it, or you know, what's it like seeing other guys do it, or you know, just your opinions on it in general, or hard way versus blading, you know? So
I don't have a opinion on that either way because I've never done it. I've bled in the ring before, not too much, but I've bled in the ring before, and that's just, you know, because of somebody, you know, tried to be a little bit hard or you know, it's just I might have ran into somebody in an awkward way, and it, you know, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would say that if I don't know. I feel like when it comes to getting color in the ring, you know, bleeding in the ring, in my opinion, you have to save those moments for something special.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just go, you know, you can't just go out on, you know, 205 Live, you know, and bleed. You know, you can't go to some random, you know, AEW Dynamite show and just bleed. It has to mean something. It has to be carried along with the story. You know, you have to. It's something that you could do to get people a little bit more invested in a match that's going to be on a pay-per-view or something. It's got to mean something. It's got to be special. So, I mean, I haven't done it. I don't plan on doing it. Not to say that I won't, but
right.
You know, it's got to mean something. It's got to be special.
Yeah.
It really has to.
That definitely. It got to be a WrestleMania moment or it can be WrestleMania. It could be a Ring of Honor moment. It could be a New Japan moment. Anything. It could be anything special, like you said. Definitely.
Yeah, but it does. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily need to be like a WrestleMania, like big, huge event moment. But it has to carry. It has to carry a meaning. It has to carry a meaning. Maybe it's something that needs to be done in order to lead up. Or it has to be something that has to be done, you know, to lead up to something special. You know, it just has to mean something. You know, it has to mean something, and it has to be strategically placed in a part of the storyline that's going to get people excited to see what the finish is going to be. You know, what the end of the road is going to look like. So,
yeah,
I don't know. That's my opinion.
No, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I'm with you.
Really, yeah, it's really got to be, you know, special and for the storytelling. I can see.
Yeah.
You know, and it also brings me to this next question. What's like one of the most dangerous matches you've been in? You know, maybe something hardcore or, you know, very tricky spots involved, you know, things like that, of that nature.
Well, that's a rough one. So I've been in a lot of matches where, see, here's the thing, man. Like how I approach a match, it has to be hard hitting. You know, it has to be a match where people are invested off of the straight up physicality. So I think every match that I've been in, with the exception of maybe a couple, there's been something that has made you kind of go like, oh, like, damn, you always want to have that level of excitement. You always want to have that level of I don't know what to call it, but you want to use that physicality to get people interested and not turn the channel. So that's always there. But as far as scary moments, I'm not sure I've ever had a scary moment yet that I would call a scary moment. I've been hit in the back and the head with chairs. I've been hit with stop signs and anything you could think of, trash cans and whatnot. I've been there was this one match where Jacob Fatu clotheslined me over the ropes, and then he hit the ropes and hit me with a moonsault outside. We fell into a bunch of chairs, MVP kicked me straight in the face and I flipped over into a bunch of chairs. So it's like, there's a lot of stuff that you would think would be, scary or whatever, but I mean, it's all part of the show, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what, when you see me get on a ladder and fall off a ladder or do something crazy like that, then we can revisit this question.
I will.
On the podcast again, and I'll tell you a better story. I'll tell you a better one.
I gotta say that's pretty solid though, Jacob Fatu and MVP. And like I think about MVP and the IWGP Intercontinental title. The fact that you faced that guy, is amazing. I mean, especially when I think of like dangerous opponents. Ivan, you said you faced Psycho Clown, and I know about him with him and doing some hardcore stuff, and you doing like what was that match with Psycho Clown like?
Well, it was a tag team match. It was me and Rico Dinamita versus him and Tejano Jr. It was for the most part it was a traditional lucha match, so we didn't have to do anything too hardcore or whatever. So I mean, it was the first time I had wrestled him, and just talking with some people at Pro Wrestling Revolution, it wasn't going to be the last time. We were going to build, and I was excited for it, but the pandemic kind of shut that down. So hopefully when we get back to it, I'll be able to have another go, maybe one-on-one with Tejano Jr., one-on-one with Psycho Clown. And I mean, they can bring it, man. They can, I'm not a sucker, man. You can hit me as hard as you want. Just know I'm gonna give it back to you as hard as you give it to me. So we'll see how it goes.
Man, that's what I love about you. What I love about you is just like, you bring it. You're like, what do you, even if they hit you as hard as you can, be like, is that all you can do? And I already know. I just seeing all your matches is just, it's incredible. That's why. And then that brings me to this question. I know you made your debut with Championship, wrestling from Hollywood. So how did that become all about? Did Marquez give you the call, or how did after All Pro Wrestling, you went after that you went to Championship Wrestling from Hollywood? So how did that become about, you going over there and then meeting Danny Limelight throughout your current run right now in Championship Wrestling?
Yeah, I've had conversations with Dave Marquez before. I don't claim to have known him or anything like that. We've had like just some verbiage over Facebook or whatever. So I've always been on their radar. It just had to be the right time, and I'm patient. I'm going to keep doing what I need to do until someone reaches out and I go do the next thing. So the next thing for me was Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, United Wrestling Network. And, I got a call asking if I wanted to come down. I did. And, the rest of that is history. When I got there, they had this idea of putting me with Danny Limelight. And they was like, you guys could be a tag team. And I said, okay, that's cool. So we became the Bodega. I've been billed from the Bodega since the beginning. So since I started wrestling, when you hear people announce my name, it's like, weighing in at 301 pounds from the Bodega, the King Fatboy Papo Esco. So I brought the Bodega to Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and that name and that whole, MO is something that I've been doing for a while. So it only made sense for me to continue it on and bring Danny into the fold. Danny's a good dude, man. I really enjoy working with him. He's a real humble cat. Me and him click right away because we got some of the same beliefs. We got some of the same, we function pretty much the same. And it's good. It feels good that I'm able to open up with the Bodega and Danny Limelight. We're both Puerto Rican dudes, and we're able to, just do what we do in the ring at the same time. Just put our heritage on a big stage. Guys are already doing it. Proud and Powerful, and Eddie Kingston, and Homicide, Low Key, the Hit Squad, all them dudes. They're running it for Puerto Rico, but we love the chance and opportunity to continue that. So.
No, definitely. I'm with you 100%. When you forming, you creating a Bodega and bringing it to the Championship Wrestling, forming it, with Danny Limelight, and now you added a third edition, Slice Boogie. He's another Puerto Rican native. I love the fact that that's what is missing nowadays is la cultura. It's like la cultura puertorriqueña, and for y'all who didn't understand Spanish, is the Puerto Rican culture, ladies and gentlemen. Because yes, we do see a lot of, not, no pun intended at all, not something like you see a lot of lucha libre mexicana, or you see, any other type of race, but finally something that we haven't seen since, you could say, the Savio Vega days, like the like Boricuas. Yeah. We have not seen that in a while. I mean, we've seen how you said it. You mentioned we had not seen that in a while, and I love the fact that you brought that up because there's a lot of territory. That's what is missing nowadays. Different cultures, different aspects that we should take over territories. You already have Santana Ortiz, AEW. You have Homicide. You have Low Key. You have, Eddie Kingston. You have Tasha Steele. You have Evilise. I mean, yourself and Danny Limelight. I mean, that's what's missing nowadays. So we're missing a faction like that, nowadays, and also that culture that needs to be more exposed to it as well, to the pro wrestling fans. And that's why I love the fact that you and Danny and Slice are doing it now for Championship Wrestling, and especially, here in, SoCal, because we're missing that. It's not that I'm speaking as a fan, it's not that we're not tired of seeing Mexican lucha libre, none of that. It has nothing to do with that. It's different cultures, different characters, it's real,
It's just it's just a different perspective, man. It's a different flavor, to what Latinos have been trying to do this whole time in professional wrestling. And we know that Mexico and the Mexican luchadors and the Mexican wrestlers, that they've been in the forefront. They were one of the first guys to actually make it to the next level, when you got Psychosis and Rey Mysterio and Conan and all them dudes that were, coming out. Most of them dudes were Mexican. The LWO, most of them dudes were Mexican, and they were doing it for their culture. And you got to respect that, man, and I'm never tired of seeing them, and I'll never be tired of seeing them. You got a whole new, group of Mexican dudes that are in WWE and everywhere else. They're doing it, for their culture. So it's a beautiful thing. But like you said, you ain't seen a faction of Puerto Rican dudes since Los Boricuas in the WWE back in the day. And I think it's time again. And up to this point, you've had a lot of Puerto Ricans in the industry, but they've been doing their own thing. Some are a tag team here. Some are singles wrestlers here, but not since Los Boricuas have you seen like a faction of dudes. I mean, my ultimate dream is every Puerto Rican throughout America and even in Puerto Rico, just ride with the Bodega, rep the Bodega. Maybe we can have a faction that spans MLW and Ring of Honor and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, AEW, whatever, maybe that could happen, but we just trying to ride for our people. We're not wearing, the Puerto Rican flag, or we're not wearing anything, that has to do with the Taino culture or the Puerto Rican culture, because it's a gimmick. You know, this ain't something that we, you know, pick up when the light turns red and then put down when they say we're clear. You know what I mean? This ain't something that we stop. We live this every single day, and we're going to continue to do so. So when you see us repping for Puerto Rico, or you see us, you know, repping the bodega, this is not something that is fake. It's not something that you think we're just going to put down any old way. I live this every single day, and I want to portray that when the camera's on, and I want everybody to believe it. You know, and that's why I think they do believe it, is because they know that. I mean, they might not know, but they should know that it's real. You know, it comes from here. It don't come from here. You know what I mean? This isn't fabricated. This is real life feelings and emotions that you're seeing, you know, across the TV screen. So, you know, I'm happy to be a part of the bodega. I'm happy to be a part of United Wrestling Network, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I'm glad we're able to take the bodega and just ride for our people, you know, and we're going to continue to do so, man. You know, whether I, you know, stay with Danny or he goes off to AEW, I go somewhere else. You know, we're all going to be together, and we're going to come together. You know, even Slice Boogie, man. Slice Boogie, look, if you don't know Slice Boogie, you need to get to know Slice Boogie. You need to Google that, man, because he's a monster. He's a monster on a promo, and he's a monster in the ring, and he's just getting his feet wet. But when them fireworks start clicking and he starts getting it a lot more, man, you're not going to be able to stop him, man. I could see him doing things on an even grander scale than I would do, or anybody else, man. He could be a big star, man, you know. So I'm excited to see him be a part of us, and I'm excited to see what he does, you know, going forward. So,
I was actually glad to see, because he was one of our last interviews that we had of last year for 2020. So he was like one of our last ones we had. So I
monster.
Hell yeah, definitely. I mean, see him in his you know, fist combat. You know, I see him there. So I always tell him, man, you gotta join. Eventually, he's like, you have to wait to see next week. You know, I kind of
you got it. Yeah.
But I love that. You know, I'm glad that he's part of the bodega, because, man, I just can't wait for it to grow, especially you know, everywhere, how you said, and that's what I would like to see. Definitely, 100%. Just repping that every territory, just repping that makes, like, it will be a dream come true, and I would love to see that, definitely, because it'll be like another, like, you know, it'll be like another Los Ingobernables, like. You have the Japón, you have the Mexico, or the U.S. It could be something like that. So, you know, but obviously it's different, you know, because it's about culture, how you said, like from the heart, from here, not a gimmick. It's from here, from the heart, from the culture, and definitely I agree.
And you know, we rep, you know, we rep for, you know, our culture, but I mean, we ride for the entire Latino community, man. You know, I mean, it's not just, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you are. You could be Salvadorian, you could be Peruvian, you could be Mexican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Dominican. It don't matter, man. You could speak Spanish or you could not speak Spanish. It don't matter, man. You got a piece of blood in you that is Latino, man. You riding with us regardless, man. And even though, you know, we do rep just for Puerto Rico when it comes to the bodega and how we function, we still got a lot of love, and we still ride a lot for the entire Latino community. So, you know.
100%. I'm with you with that 100%. You know? Yeah. Matt, what were you gonna say?
No, nothing in particular. That's you know, you're flying the flag high. You know, it's great that the communities are connected, especially through wrestling. You know, I mean, you know, growing up, I remember in the old days, like my brother didn't like, you know, it's like, you're watching wrestling. Oh, that's only for white guys, and like he didn't really have the impression. You know, didn't really know. And now, you know, we got so many different flags flying. We see it. We see a little bit of everything in there. I mean, you know, I'll probably like leave with this last question for you. It would probably be, where do you see yourself continuing with tag team, or do you want to like go off into singles? And what do you prefer, singles or tag team?
Well, it just happened, you know, that, you know, it worked out that, you know, I was a tag team guy. I guess you would call me like a tag team specialist, right? Because I've been with 3 different tag team partners, 3 different tag team titles, you know. So tag team wrestling is definitely something that I'm very interested in and I enjoy doing. But I mean, I would be lying to you if I said that I didn't want to, have a singles run, get a singles title under my belt, work some of the top, singles competitors out there and show them what I can do and show the world what I can do on my own, But right now I'm happy to be, where I'm at. I'm happy to be in the tag team, the Bodega. I'm happy to be rocking with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, United Wrestling Network, Dave Marquez and all them cats. And I'm excited to see what happens with them, man. That's my home right now. And that's what I'm doing. So when we get back to it, it's going to get even that much more interesting.
I cannot wait. I'll tell you that because I want to see the Bodega take all the gold from Championship Wrestling for Hollywood.
We need that. We want to bring those titles to a new level, man. We'll take on all comers, bro. We want to make sure that we are in the conversation when it comes to the top tag teams in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, the top tag teams in the United Wrestling Network. We want to be in the conversation when you talk history, when you talk, 10, 20, 30 years from now, when they're still flying their wrestling flag and they're talking about the history of their company. We want to be a part of that conversation. So we're definitely going to, come back and hit it harder and hit it faster than you've ever seen us do. We're going to be grimier. We're going to be more malicious and more violent than you've ever seen, man. We're going to take it to another level, man. We want to make sure that we're in at least the top 5 conversation piece for tag teams in that company and as holders of those titles. So we're going to do our best, man. We're going to do our best.
But 100%, but one thing I want to go ahead and add to this is, I mean, as of right now, you guys are obviously one of the hottest tag teams. So I want to go ahead and mention this right quick. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to put on your votes in for SoCal Uncensored Tag Team of the Year. That is La Bodega. So they're up there right now in the rankings. So make sure you put your votes in as they're going to be voted for Tag Team of the Year for SoCal.
Yeah, there's still a couple of days, right? There's still a couple of days to go there and vote. So go to SoCal Uncensored Tag Team of the Year 2020. The Bodega, right. Danny Limelight, and the King Fatboy Papo Esco.
That's right, definitely. And
number one, get those votes up, everybody. Get in your phones, tablets, computers, all of them.
Definitely, that's right. And I'm looking forward to seeing more in the future. You and Danny and Slice building that faction and taking the gold from Championship Wrestling and also from NWA. I mean, I already hear you calling Trevor. Yep, you're calling out the NWA Tag Team Champions. You're calling out Trevor Murdoch.
I'm still calling them out. Trevor Murdoch, bro. You made mention to me on Twitter, and I made mention to you on Twitter, man. When we get back to it, we're gonna have to bang, bro. Maybe I'll win that national title, maybe I won't. But either way, win or lose, you're gonna remember who I am, bro. You're gonna remember the King Fatboy Papo Esco, and hopefully that'll be the start of a steamrolling train that just that won't stop. We'll see.
That's right.
We'll see.
Definitely, I agree with you 100%, brother. Now, so you can let the viewers know where can they find you. Give them your social media platforms where they can follow you. Want to let them know?
Yeah. You can hit me up on social media. Instagram, it's Papo Esco. Facebook is Papo Esco. My kids got me on Snapchat, so that's Papo Esco too. I don't really mess with that, but I'm supposed to start doing it again. So hit me up on Snapchat, and then Twitter. It's Papo_Esco. Hit me up. I'm not like most cats, man. As long as you're respectful, as long as you're not a creep, as long as you come at me correct. If you talk to me, I'll talk back, man. I'm not hard to find.
Definitely. So I will put all his social media platforms under the description below, ladies and gentlemen. And then also you can see the Papo Esco and the rest of the Bodega family on the CW30 every Saturday. CW30 on the YouTube channel. And also check your local listings. You can also see them on the Fight TV network. You can see them for United Wrestling Network. You can see them there as well. Championship Wrestling on it as well. So we're looking forward for the future for Mr. Papo Esco and for the rest of the Bodega. I'm looking forward to them taking the gold here in SoCal and NWA. Maybe Ring of Honor, MLW, maybe AEW. You never know. Never say never.
You never know.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Thank you very much.
Tell Cody and the Bucks and all them cats. You know, I'll come to dark, man. I'm ready. Let's go.
Oh yeah,
I'm ready to do it. All you got to do is say the word.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely. Yep. You're ready. Definitely, you're ready, bro. I'm hoping one day for you, and I pray for you that you do, man. I pray for you, do. I pray you get your big break. You deserve it. You deserve it. You work
It's good. It's good, man. Like I said, I don't see past my nose too much. I like to be in the moment, and I like to be right where I'm at that time. And right now, I'm super focused on, the United Wrestling Network, super focused on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and that whole conglomerate and umbrella that Dave Marquez has. I'm super focused on that right now, so I'm not really thinking about anybody else. But you never know. So if they come calling, I'll more than likely answer. We'll see.
That's right, definitely. Once again, brother, I appreciate you, Mr. King. That's right, King. Fatboy. Papo Esco, thank you so much for joining us. And also, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining and for tuning in. And we will see you guys next week. Once again, this is a Devious What I Will See with MGC, Mr. Matthew Steamboat, where I'm with Papo Esco saying to you guys, good night. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you.